By driver of the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tools Chevrolet, Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie, you're a four-time winner here at IMS. It's tied for the NASCAR lead, and if you get another one this weekend, you'll be tied for an IMS record. Had some time on the track yesterday. What are your feelings heading into the weekend?
Yeah, yesterday was actually, I really liked the schedule. The fact that we were able to get out on the track yesterday and learn a little bit, and then have the evening to think about it and apply some changes to the car. At the end of practice yesterday, we got it in the ballpark for sure. I'd like to be a little bit better, but today's practice is going to be an important one. I hope the the clouds move out and the sun, comes out, and we get the conditions as close to what we'll see for race day here pretty soon, because we have such an early practice session this morning. But things are going well. We'd like to be a little better, but we're definitely in the ballpark.
All right, we'll open up for questions. Raise your hand, state your name and affiliation. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start with Melinda. We'll go to David.
Melinda Adams, ESPN. Just describe to us what it means to you to win here and what it would mean, to get a historic fifth.
Fifth would be incredible. I can't believe I have four of them right now. This track, for one, took me a while to sort out, and then I was able to get a feel for things and start setting the car up for the proper line and driver inputs around here. And then things just started clicking for us. And, to do things, to do anything Jeff Gordon's done is huge. I mean, the guy is massive in our sport and has done so much. And truthfully, somebody I looked up to as a young kid racing and still do today. I mean, he's started off as a hero of mine, turned into a friend and a teammate. And it's been an amazing ride all along. But to tie what Jeff has done here at the Speedway is just absolutely amazing. And then also to add Rick Mears to that as well. Grew up in Southern California. Rick Mears and the whole Mears gang grew up in Bakersfield, and watching Rick's career and knowing that he came from my background inspired me to actually pursue IndyCar racing when I was younger. But my opportunities led me to NASCAR, and things turned out as they have. So, long story short, to do anything that either of those two have done is pretty awesome.
David Caravello, NASCAR.com. I actually have two. Guys last year were saying you weren't in your own zip code, you were in your own country. I mean, how much of that kind of effort do you think can carry over to this year, even though we're dealing with a new car?
Yeah, things are just so much different. The tools we have to work with on the car that we had last year, we don't have this year. And we're working in different areas. And honestly, NASCAR's taken away so much that it's really small adjustments that we're working on to make a difference with the car. And you start stacking those small adjustments to find a tenth or a tenth and a half. Where last year, we got onto the skew thing and really were able to make it work here. And they've eliminated so many areas to work in now that it's hard to find a chunk of speed. And when you have a few tenths on the field, it's not going to last long, because the garage is smart. They're paying attention, and things just don't last as long as they used to right now because there are so few areas to work in.
And to follow that up, this seems like a racetrack where it's really difficult to sort of chase the car. If you're not good kind of off the truck and you're not good early in the weekend, it becomes a struggle. I mean, why is it that way here?
We get 5 sets of tires to work with to start the weekend, and literally every lap you make, it just tears the tire down more and more. So if you come off the truck, like yesterday we had 2 sets of tires, we came off the truck, we weren't totally satisfied, went to work on the car, and we wanted to use one more set of tires, and then leaves 3 sets for today. And we get to a point where you're adjusting the car on pretty old tires, and as you wear the tire, they develop a trend, and it's hard to adjust through that at times. And we put our second set on and try to re-baseline with 10 minutes of practice left. But it was good, especially having the night to think about things, because we get one shot this morning to really work on what we thought through last night. And long story short, it's just a long race track. A lot of tire wear, beats up the tire, builds kind of a tighter, loose condition into the tires that's hard to work around. And when you have limited tires and laps, and you don't know the line you want to run, you don't know the track, it just makes it that much tougher for a rookie, for someone that's still trying to sort out the racetrack. And that's truthfully why it took me so long, even with testing up here. Unless you go sticker every time you're on track, it's hard to know what adjustments worked and really to sort out your driver line.
Bob, Nate, and then David.
Bob Parker, Sport News. I have a couple as well. First off, how different is the Gen 6 car here compared to the Gen 5?
It is different, for sure, and we're still trying to get the exact feel that I'm looking for. But again, last year we had so many tools to work with to help the car perform like we wanted to that, we just don't have that luxury this year. So, I expected, I don't know what the speeds are, but I feel like we're a little bit slower than what I anticipated from a driver's effort standpoint. I don't know what it says on the stopwatch, but I thought we would be a little bit more on, on kill on a lap, like we see on the mile and a halves. But, we're not the fastest car yet, so we'll work to get there.
And then also, you guys have the partitions kind of between on both sides of the car, and they're not that much taller than a pit box or that most teams have, but it was kind of startling to see them. Do you know, is it just a way to give Cobalt some more or is there actually some sort of purpose for them?
Well, NASCAR has given us an advantage to hide our stuff so that we can work in private and not let anybody see what's going on. But they won't allow any other team to do it, so it's just for the 48. No, it's honestly, it's. You might notice that over the last few years we've wanted to kind of spruce up that area, and knowing that all the F1 stalls are the exact same, and the way F1 does such a beautiful job of building out like a garage area, Chad was just inspired to do that a year or two ago, and Lowe's and Cobalt, provided all the stuff that they have in store that we can put right in our pit box. So. Chad even went through all the steps to get it approved with NASCAR coming to the track and all that kind of stuff. So it's really just to show off the great things that are sold in store.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Jimmy, you mentioned the rear end skew thing here. How far ahead of this race last year did you guys know you were coming with something that might sort of set the tone for the rest of the year? And did you know it was going to maybe have the effect like it did, where by the end of the year, the two and everybody else had sort of caught up to it? And is that kind of common for Indy that guys bring out stuff here that maybe everybody else starts to use over the next few months?
Yeah, you definitely need to bring your best stuff here, and we're getting into the final few races before the chase, and you don't want to start the chase with unknowns. So for us, Indy's been a good time to debut things. Last year, we felt like the skew in our hearts would be the direction to go, and we saw that before when it was allowed through some other means, in the back of the car, and we developed that the system to make it work under the current rules, or the rules that we had last year, and we struggled with it at some tracks. But we came here and scienced it out just right, and the track's very forgiving for how that system worked. You don't have a lot of bumps or the big transitions in the corner and off. And from the first lap on the track, I was like, whoa, this is going to be good. So from there, we were able to continue to work with it and make it better. But also, this garage area is awfully smart, and within weeks, everybody else was working on a package very similar. So it didn't last long for sure.
Yeah, David Newton, ESPN.com. You go to a lot of tracks where people expect you to win, and this is one of them. What is that like to come here, especially for a big race like this, with all the expectations saying basically it's Jimmie Johnson's race to win? Because everybody's saying we're chasing Jimmie Johnson at this track.
In my heart, I feel like I need to come here and win. That's pressure I put on myself. I don't know the outside pressure. I haven't paid too much attention to it, but with how we've been performing and the history we've had here over the last few years, I feel like we definitely have a shot, and we should put that pressure on ourselves as a team, and I should put that on myself as a driver, that need to come here and try to win the race, and hopefully can. So, it's an honor to have other teams and the media paying attention to what we're doing and say that we're the team to beat. But there's no more. We put more pressure on ourselves than what surrounding or outside stuff is. So, with all that being said, yesterday I didn't think we had a winning car. We got close at the end, and today's practice is really important, and we need to get on top of things to try to get victory lane.
And it's 8 o'clock in the morning. We know you've probably been up. What's been your schedule so far this morning? Have you run a marathon already, or climbed a mountain, or what? I
got up at 5:30 and it was raining. I was supposed to run 10, and I said, okay, that's good. Thanks, rain. I went back to bed. Oh, yeah. If it's wet out there, I'm like, yeah, I don't want it that bad today. I'm going to bed. Rain, no. It's nice when it rains, though. No, once I'm up, I'm up. But the rain, I was like, I'll sit around, have some coffee, and chill out, watch some Dora with Evie. which I'm tired of watching Dora. It's and it sucks you in, man. You can't help it. It's like staring at a bright light. You can't turn away. No more than I already knew, So I'm still at the very basic level of ordering food and maybe paying for something.
Jimmy, back here. Rich Nye from Channel 13, NBC here in Indy. Jeff Gordon is listed, at least, as your car owner. I know that's not like the relationship of Tony Stewart being a car owner teammate, but what is the dynamic relationship there? Does he have any real input on your team as car owner?
As car owner, yeah, I mean, he definitely does. He sits in meetings with Rick that I don't attend, and the direction of where Hendrick Motorsports is going, and what each team is doing, budgets, sponsorship things, just stuff I'm not a part of because I'm just a driver. But Jeff made it known to me early on that I'm his teammate, it's not an owner-driver situation. And first couple months of being employed, I'd joke around with him, call him boss, and he'd quickly correct me and say, no, we're teammates, man. Don't call me boss. That's Rick. So, Rick and Jeff have a great relationship, and Jeff has always had a very smart and keen business sense. And he knows everything that goes on at HMS. So he's kind of a hybrid. He won't let me approach him as a boss, but he definitely knows the inner workings of Hendrick Motorsports.
Does he ever come to victory lane when you win? I mean, it's not that kind of thing, is it?
Oh, it is. I'd have to say probably every victory we've had, he's been there, including the first. When from there on we had one heck of a celebration.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. When you win here, what makes it special or unique? Is there something that you really kind of savor when you win at Indianapolis?
It's a major for us, so it has that feel to it. And then for each driver, every driver respects this facility and respects what this victory does, can do, will do, has, what it's done for so many drivers. It doesn't matter if it's F1 or IndyCar. So we're all very, very aware of that, and that it rings a little different for Tony, a little different for Jeff. You look at Dale Jarrett just being a stock car guy when he won here, how special it was to him. Even though he didn't aspire to being an IndyCar driver, it still meant the world to him. So, and it's meant the world to me. I wanted to be an IndyCar driver growing up, and then my focus changed my mid-teens, late teens, and stock cars was the thing for me. And one last aspect to add is, Daytona, you win the race based on decisions you make and the decisions others make around you to have the draft work in your favor. Here, it is solely the driver and team's effort that gets it done. So from winning both, there is a different feeling. You win a plate race, although skill and talent and all that from team and driver are very important and help win the race, it's not all of it. So there's almost like a feeling in Vegas when you hit blackjack or something, and you had 4 or 5 cards to get there. Took some skill, took some luck, but you got it. Here, that you've earned it. It's such a tough track to drive and compete on that there's a little different feeling. It's hard to say which is more important. I mean, they're both huge races, and NASCAR's history is all about the Daytona 500, but winning here sits really deep in a driver.
Any more questions for Jimmy? Nate?
Going back, Jimmy, to what you were saying earlier about how NASCAR has taken so much away and you don't have as many tools. Can you be any more specific? I mean, is it just like the rear end stuff? I mean, is it suspension stuff? Is there anything like you can look at on the car and say, here's what we could do last year, but we can't do this year, that would we would understand, normal people?
Yeah, the rear suspension is a big one. We were able to use a rear sway bar in a couple different manners. One, to create the skew in the car, or two, if you didn't want the skew, because the skew was nice to have in certain areas of the corner, especially center off. But on corner entry, it wasn't real fun to drive. As you let off the gas and the way things would move, it gives you a really loose sensation. So if you didn't like that sensation, you could go to a standard combination with your rear sway bar and just have it work through the center of the corner and off. We also were able to use in the truck arms, we were able to use bushings that would allow the left, which we mainly use the left side to move fore and aft, and you could use that as a tuning tool to help the car in various parts of the corner. Because we're using all of those things to help twist the back end, NASCAR's taking that all away. And within that, there's at least 3, if not 4 or 5, once you pile up some other small things that you can do that we're not allowed to use anymore. And they were all very helpful tools at different stages. Thing is, we figured out how to pile them all up and create a ton of skew, and then NASCAR said, no more of that. We're taking it all away from you guys.
All right. One last question.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. Jimmy, I apologize if you answered this in your opening statement, but do you remember what you were doing 20 years ago when they first raced here? And also, you were talking about the tire wear. On a big track like this, how long does it take for the tire wear to impact the setup on your car when you're out there?
20 years ago, I remember seeing some clips and reading about the guys being on track here. Earnhardt being the first one out, if my memory serves me right. In the race, I remember Jeff winning, but it's pretty spotty. I mean, 20 years ago, the coverage of our sport was so different in Southern California that I'd usually catch it midweek or late in the week, just on the late side all the time. But I remember being excited for the test session and the coverage that came with it, and knowing that Jeff won. Tire wear was the second question. In qualifying, your balance will change in the 1 lap you make or 1.5 laps you make. And you need a much different driving race car in turn 1 so that when you get back to turn 4, you can put the lap together. And you might remember seeing, and you'll probably see it today, you'll see someone with a great 1 and 2, and they get to 3 and lose a little, get to 4 and lose a little. It's because the balance is changing. I watched the Indy qualifying, and those guys have a lot of stuff that they can adjust in the car. And it's pretty noticeable. Each lap they have to make a significant adjustment. We don't have those tools, but for 1 lap, you've got to compromise turn 1 to have a good turn 4 to put up a lap.
All right, Jimmy, thank you for the time, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.